I finally managed to gather all the curiosities to make an exclusive Upper Moons video. It wasn't easy, but finally the video is here. Get ready because there's a lot of information. And you're already leaving your favorite Upper Moon in the comments. Starting with our beloved Upper Moon number 3, Akasa. Akasa does not feed on women, only on men. This happens because his memories of when he was human directly interfere with his decisions as a demon, and the specific reason is never said. But most likely it is out of respect for Koyuki, who was his late bride when he was a human. Including this is why Akasa got so angry with Doma when they meet in the Infinite Castle, since Doma is saying that he killed a woman and put her head inside a pot, just to provoke Akasa. To be an Upper Moon and not kill women, Akasa has a special authorization from Muzan himself, who agreed to do this conception because he likes Akasa's loyalty and seriousness. Not feeding on women puts Akasa at a disadvantage compared to other demons, since according to Doma, women have much more nutrients and make the Oni much stronger. When Akasa uses his Kekijutsu, we can see that most of his techniques have a power that is very reminiscent of a snowflake. This is a reference to the hairpins that his fiancée used when he was human. The tattoos on Akasa's body symbolize the amount of crimes he has committed throughout his life. Akasa's human name is Hakuji, it means lion dog, and also healer. There are statues that are in temples that are called guardian lion dog, and when we know the story of Akasa, we understand that he was like a grandiose, a person who was there for others, and the healer part of his name is due to the fact that he spent a good part of his human life taking care of sick people, like his father and his fiancée. Akasa is the only member of the Upper Moons who found the people he knew in life while disappearing, and who had someone waiting for him after death. Despite his loyalty, Akasa never felt respect or admiration for Muzan. He only saw the king of demons as someone who gave orders, and saw himself as someone who should obey him. Now let's talk about the Upper Moon with the brightest and most colorful eyes, Doma. Doma was very jealous of the special treatment Muzan gave Akasa. When Doma recruited Daki and Jutaro to become Onis, he was still Upper Moon number 6. As a human, Doma was turned into a demon by Muzan when he was 20 years old, and upon becoming an Oni, he lived to be 133 years old. After Kotoha entered his temple, Doma became fond of her beauty and charm, and initially had no intention of devouring her, as he enjoyed her company, but he eventually killed her, Kotoha being Inosuke's mother. Muzan is not very fond of Doma, although he has immense loyalty and admiration for Muzan. Muzan finds him very annoying and only tolerates him because he is very strong. Doma has made Muzan the figure of worship for his religious sect, where Muzan is described as an entity that must be venerated. Doma had money, status, and an almost immortal body, but he didn't have feelings, and he was very curious to know what it would be like to experience that kind of feeling. In the Demon Slayer fan book, Doma comments about Shinobu, saying that she was very beautiful. Unlike Akasa, Doma prefers to feed on women, especially young and pregnant women, as, according to him, it has the best nutrients. After Doma died, he was finally able to have emotions, and one of the first emotions he felt was infatuation, as he realized that he was in love with Shinobu. In Muzan's experience, he had determined that those without strong attachments or desires would not evolve much as demons, but in Doma's case it was the exact opposite. He seemed to have more talent than the others, as he managed to rise through the hierarchy to the rank of Upper Moon 2 in a few years. Doma has an extremely powerful ice-based Kekijutsu and is very efficient in long-range and short-range combat, being considered a complete technique. Now let's talk a little about the strongest demon ever created by Muzan, Kokushibo. Kokushibo is the first demon slayer to become a demon, and is also the oldest demon Muzan has transformed and is still alive. Kokushibo became a demon at age 20, and lived as a demon for over 460 years. The moon breath created by Kokushibo while still a human is a direct offshoot of the sun breath, and is the only one of the main breaths that never had a successor, and never will, as the techniques died along with the demon when he has been defeated. Kokushibo knows all the steps and techniques of the sun breath, although he was never able to actually use it, as the sun breath was not compatible with his body. Kokushibo was the only character in all of history who was not born with the hunter's mark and managed to stay alive after the age of 25, as he managed to escape the curse through his acquired immortality by turning into a demon. Michikatsu and Yorichi's relationship was inspired by the tale of Tsukuyomi and Amaterasu, who are the moon and sun gods in Japanese mythology. The tale says that the two live in an eternal quarrel and have sworn never to see each other again, which is why the moon and the sun always appear at separate times. Kokushibo had his position as the strongest upper moon, challenged 3 times. In the first 2 blood duels, Kokushibo won and absorbed his opponents with Musen's authorization. In the third duel, his opponent was Akasa, and Kokushibo again won, but chose not to kill Akasa as he found the duel fun, and told Akasa to evolve and challenge him again in the future. Kokushibo, while he was still Michikatsu Tsujikuni, had 2 sons, and one of these sons spawned the lineage of Muchiro Takedo, who denied the Tsujikuni name of his father, and as for the other son, we have no information about his possible descendants, but most likely this son also dropped the Tsujikuni name. Kokushibo uses a sword that is similar to the one he used in his time as a demon slayer, but it is made of his own flesh, being able to increase his range and the area of damage of his breathing techniques. The sword also has several of his eyes, which are functional and expand the Oni's field of vision. Kokushibo's sword is called Kyokokokumusuri, and loosely translated, it can mean hollow cry of the godless. In the Demon Slayer fanbook, Kokushibo, after he died, makes some comments about Stone Ashura, and he says that Gyomii looks like a benevolent king. Now let's talk about the ugliest demon in Demon Slayer, Gyakko. Only 3 people including Muchiro Takedo have seen Gyakko in her true form. Gyakko is one of Musen's favorite upper moons, as the pots he makes are beautiful and are sold for a high price, and this makes Musen earn a lot of money from it. Gyakko lived on the outskirts of a fishing village, and was hated by everyone for repeatedly collecting fish carcasses and doing strange things, such as enjoying the drowned corpses of his own parents. Still as a human, Gyakko killed a village child who came to tease him, and stuffed his body from a jar. In anger, the child's parents stabbed Gyakko with a fishing fork. He was left to die there, but a long time passed. And he was still alive, and the Musen who was passing by saw him and turned him into a demon. Guys, just explaining that Gyakko's origin was not told originally in the manga, it was told later in an extra material, so there are no images of Gyakko in human form. I tried to find some fan art to illustrate here in the video, but I couldn't find it, because who would want to make a fan art of this ugly guy? Anyway, back to the video. Gyakko harbored a great hatred for all living beings on Earth, the only exception being his master Musen. Gyakko explains that the scales that cover his body in his final form are as hard as diamond, and his neck is coated with many of them. Now let's talk about the most cowardly demon of all, Hantengu. The drums that appear behind his Sohakyutan form represent the taiko drums of the god Raijin. Legend has it that when Raijin hits one of the drums that are levitating behind his back, lightning strikes both the human world and the underworld. Are you enjoying the curiosities, my people? If so, consider subscribing to the channel, it would help me a lot. Let's continue. Hantengu has lied so much about his age, his name, and his background, that he has forgotten what the real information was. When he was human, Hantengu got married and had children several times, but whenever he was accused of dishonesty he felt bad, and he killed his wife and children in anger, and this cycle of violence was repeated until he met Musen. Even as a child, Hantengu lied about the people around him to make them look bad, and gain sympathy. Musen doesn't like Hantengu very much. He sees him as a normal Oni, which sometimes gets to be quite annoying. When he was turned into a human by Musen, Hantengu was about 87 years old, and believed that there was no one in this world more pitiful than him. In addition to his real body, Hantengu has 4 clones that represent the 4 primary emotions. They are sadness, joy, anger, and pleasure. Now let's go to the most beautiful demon of all, our dear Daki. In terms of power, Daki couldn't match the other upper moons. Even so, she was much stronger than the strongest lower moon. Even though he wasn't as strong as the other upper moons, Musen liked Daki a lot, since his venture in the red light district earned him a lot of money. Daki's human name was Uemi, which in Japanese means syphilis, and according to Jotaro himself is the name of the disease that their mother contracted. The name Daki means fallen princess. Daki's Kekijutsu, and in particular her ability to extend her neck, is inspired by the tale of the legendary Japanese yokai called Rokurokubi, who is a demon who can extend parts of her body and especially her neck. Even though Daki became an Oni and was over 100 years old, she still had her childish personality, and this is probably due to the fact that she turned into an Oni even as a child, preserving her personality. Due to her trauma of being burned alive, Daki acquired a certain fear of fire. In the course of the series, it is revealed that Daki managed to kill 7 Ashiras, while her brother Jutaro killed 15. And speaking of Jutaro, the word Gyu referred to thieves who lured customers into the red light district, and after working as Gyu, he used the word to name himself Jutaro. Muzan liked Jutaro as he highly valued her circumstances as well as her greedy personality. When his sister Daki was burned alive at the age of 13, Jutaro was already 18 years old, with a 5-year age difference between the two. In the Demon Slayer fanbook there are Jutaro and Daki's comments about Tengen Yuzui the Sound Hashira. Jutaro says that his movements were very detailed, and Daki comments that he was indeed a true ninja, and finally says that he hates him. Now let's talk about the other upper female moon, Meikime. Meikime has many similarities with the ancient lower moon, Kyogai. Both have demonic techniques that allow them to manipulate a specific structure at will, and both have a musical instrument for their techniques. She was one of Muzan's favorite upper moons, as he considered her ability extremely useful. Meikime earned some money by playing biwa, but she was a completely unknown artist, and her husband used the money in gambling, so she lived in poverty. Meikime, as a human, killed her own husband, after discovering that he sold the only kimono she had to biwa performances, and used the money in gambling. After killing her husband, Meikime went to the biwa performance in tattered clothes, which earned her disapproving glances, but when she started to play, she was highly praised, so she started to always kill people before playing her biwa. Because she came to believe that way, it would play better. When Meikime first met Muzan, she planned to kill him, but Muzan was so pleased with her music that he decided to turn her into a demon. Finally, let's talk about our demon trainee, Kaigaku. Kaigaku was the new upper moon number 6, who replaced Jutaro and Daki. Kaigaku, like Zenitsu, was a disciple of Jigoro. When he was human, Kaigaku received a kimono from his master. This kimono was identical to the one Jagoro used, but Kaigaku never used the kimono even once. The first form of Thunder Breath was the only one that Kaigaku never managed to master, and the reason for that is probably because he put his sword scabbard on his back, and the correct one should be on his waist, so he can perform the movement pattern required by the technique. Kaigaku was turned into a demon by Kokushibo, and it took him 3 days to complete his transformation after drinking the demon's blood. So, what's his favorite upper moon? Leave it in the comments, and don't forget to watch the other Demon Slayer videos here on the channel. That's it, my people. Demonic hugs.